I get it, you're staring at a catalogue of built-in grills and wondering if any of them are actually worth the money, especially when you've already seen a few half-baked promises online. You don't want to pour cash into a unit that looks great on paper but ends up being a constant source of frustration in your kitchen or patio. That hesitation is real, and before we get into the nitty-gritty, let me say the link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Blaze Prelude LBM is the kind of grill that makes you pause because it markets itself as commercial grade but fits inside a residential kitchen or outdoor cabinet. It's a 32-inch, 4-burner natural gas model built from 304 stainless steel, with flame-stabilizing grids and heat zone separators. Those buzzwords sound impressive, but the question is, does that translate into everyday cooking that actually makes your life easier, or does it end up being a fancy paperweight? Let's break it down the way a real homeowner would think about it. First, the installation story. Because it's a built-in, the dimensions matter more than the specs you see on a brochure. The unit is designed to slide into a standard cutout, and the factory-drilled ports for gas lines make the hookup process smoother than a DIY retrofit on a freestanding grill. If you've got a pre-planned grill niche, say, a custom cabinet under a countertop or a recessed spot in an outdoor kitchen, this model slots in without needing major modifications. That's a real time saver, especially compared with the trialandra of retrofitting a freestanding unit. On the flip side, if you don't already have a dedicated space, you'll be looking at a modest renovation, which can add up quickly. The bottom line is, the Prelude shines when the physical space is already set, but it's not the best entry point for a first-time built-in buyer who's still figuring out layout. Now on to cooking performance, which is where the commercial-grade claim gets tested. The 4 burners collectively push 56,000 BTUs, which sounds like a lot, but the real magic is in the heat zone separators. They create distinct temperature pockets across the cooking surface, so you can sear a steak on the hot side while gently cooking a side of vegetables on a cooler zone. In practice, I've seen people use that setup for a classic backyard dinner, a high heat sear for ribeyes, medium heat for chicken thighs, and a low heat area for delicate fish or even a pan of sorted mushrooms. The flame-stabilizing grids help keep those zones consistent, reducing hot spots that would normally force you to move food around constantly. What does that mean for everyday use? If you're the type who likes to multitask on the grill, say, a family barbecue where you're handling burgers, corn on the cob, and a few veggie kebabs at once, the separated zones are a genuine convenience. You won't be constantly shuffling plates to avoid burning, and the even heat distribution means you get predictable results without having to be a grill master. However, if your grilling habit is more anything at a time, like a quick weekday steak or a single batch of sausages, you might not fully exploit those zones. In that case, you're paying premium for a feature set that sits idle most evenings. Durability is another angle where the Prelude leans heavily on its 304 stainless steel construction. That grade of stainless resists rust and corrosion far better than the thinner 188 you see on many residential grills. If you live in a humid climate or near the coast, that material choice can be the difference between a grill that looks brand new after 5 years and one that shows unsightly staining. The downside: stainless is heavier, so the unit is a bit more cumbersome to maneuver during installation, and if you ever need to replace a component, you'll likely be dealing with a higher price tag for OEM parts. A practical weakness that shows up once the grill is in daily service is the control layout. The knobs sit on a recessed panel that aligns flush with the surrounding cabinetry, which looks sleek but can be a bit tricky to grip when your hands are greasy or when you're wearing gloves. I've seen a few owners add a small silicone grip overlay to improve handling, nothing major, but it's an extra step that you don't think about until you're actually cooking. Also, because the unit runs on natural gas, you're tied to that fuel source. If you ever move to a place where propane is the only option, you'd need a conversion kit, which adds another cost and a bit of hassle. Who should consider buying the Blaze Prelude LBM? Think of homeowners who already have a built-in grill space, love entertaining with multiple food items at once, and value long-term durability over a few years of casual use. It's also a solid pick for people who have a dedicated outdoor kitchen and want a grill that can hold its own against the occasional commercial-grade demand, like a weekend brunch for a large group. On the other side, skip it if you're renting, lack a pre-planned niche, or